to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हो। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय हो। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हो। थैंक यू प्रभु जी फॉर सो वंडरफुल सेवा।
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raksha Mataji. Thank you so much. Beautiful. This is the first time I actually heard Prabhupada's prayers. I knew about it, but I never heard it before. And thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome back. After hearing from Srila Prabhuji, it's really, really wonderful to hear from him. And he has done such a marvelous job. So now I'm going to try to walk in his footsteps. Let's see. Haribol, everyone. So before we begin, we offer our prayers to our Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Vadati Tisa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Now we offer prayers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Namo Mahabhadanyaye Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Nama. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sanga Pangostra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Su Medasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Sastra Vicharnai Kanipunau Shadharma Samstapakau Lokanam Hitakarinau Tribhuane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padarvind Bhajana Anandena Mattalikau Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizing and studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing external religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds and are taking shelter of. Thus, they are taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the loving devotional service, transcendental loving devotional service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Prabhupada Jai Shri Prabhupada Govindam Adi Purushottamam Bhajami. Again, please accept my humble obeisances. All Shri Prabhupada. Welcome back. So today we are Shri Prabhuji yesterday did um, the Ruchi part of it. Now, so Ruchi part of the Shraddha to Prema progressive stages of devotional service. So today I will do lesson 19, which is on Asakti. Again, it is not Ashakti. So there is a difference. A is long, A, and no Sa. Actually, it is Sa, Sha, Sha, right? Three kinds of Sha, right? So this is first one, Asakti, not Ashakti. Ashakti, Shakti means the energy, potency. Ashakti means weakness. So it's not that, it's Asakti. I made a mistake when I sent you the PowerPoints. And I didn't want to send you again. Already I sent it 3 times. So I corrected that. So before I begin lesson 19, let's hear the recapping of Sharad Prabhuji's lesson 18 that she did yesterday. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, today is my opportunity to recap. Hare Krishna, can you hear me all?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Hare Krishna, dear all, and thank you, Charu Prabhu and Sarat Prabhu, for a wonderful class and the opportunity to recap. So, as Prabhuji you said, yesterday was lesson 18, chapter on Ruchi. There are 4 sections we did in the lecture yesterday. The first section is about the awakening and symptoms of Ruchi, which is a factor that awakens Shakti, if I hold it from Shakti. Then the second section is about the fact that Bhakti destroys ignorance and awakens a taste for Bhakti, which means Bhakti is independent. The third section was about uh, taste dependent on external excellence, like 2 types of ruchi here. Like taste dependence, ruchi, which is dependent on external excellence, and ruchi, which is independent of that. And the fourth section is about despondency and bliss of a person in whom ruchi is awoken. So we will quickly glance through. So this was like high level synopsis. Ruchi is a taste. It comes before Ashakti. It comes after Shraddha, Sadhusang, Bhajan Kriya. As we, to the extent we do all that with sincerity and steadily and eagerly, to that extent, Ruchi awakens, and it is not like it will happen overnight. I wake up in the morning and all of a sudden I have a Ruchi. No, it is a very, very gradual process. We get taste, and the amount of sincerity with which we serve and increase our services, gradually our ruchi will increase, and we'll get, or gradually our uh, we make progress and go towards that stage of ruchi. So the first section, awakening of the symptoms. As we said, it is steady. It's not like overnight. It starts progressively, first from hearing, then chanting, doing the practice, and then remembering the Lord. Um, as we go more and more, the way we realize is we lose interest in the material or other engagements which are not related to Krishna, like avyartha kalavriti, like we will not be spending time in doing doing unnecessary gossip or what do you call, or Linda of anyone, Vaishnav or non-Vaishnav. Of course, whatever is needed in terms of our own maintenance, in terms of keeping upkeep of the family and all that we will do. Doesn't mean we drop everything and take somewhere because that is not possible. So whatever is required to maintain, that is good. In fact, one good thing we learned yesterday is, and interesting is, whatever is needed to get to the stage where I do my bhajan kriya is counted as bhajan kriya. For example, I wake up in the morning, I do the my regular singing and all. Without that, I won't be able to do the bhajan kriya. And if that takes 15-30 minutes, those 30 minutes are counted as a bhajan kriya. Even the overnight sleep is counted as a bhajan kriya because without a proper adequate sleep, we cannot do the uh, our service properly. Um, and finally, Jiva Goswami says that at the stage of Rusi, all the seed of sinful activity is completely destroyed, and one begins to experience the sweetness in this bhajan. Right? Uh, the section 2, which says Bhakti destroys ignorance and awakens the test of Bhakti, we went through the analogy of a person having jaundice. Like a person having jaundice, we see that Prabhupada comes many times, is recommended to have rock candy. To the stage, he develops sweetness. To that level, he is cured. So the same is our situation as of now. A person, when he starts, like for us, we may not be having the taste in chanting. The recommendation is continue to chant more and more, and gradually we will develop the taste. There were more examples, but because this is synopsis, we urge you to read the PowerPoint and the chapter. Now, the types of bhakti, Vastu, Vashishtya, Apekshani, and that it is dependent on the external excellence, like uh, the the rhythm, the meter, the musical, everything should go well, and only then I will hear the bhajan. The other is, that's an example. Other is Vastu, Vashishta, Anapekshan. That whether the external situation is clean, unclean, whether the person doing the bhajan is doing in a proper rhythm and meter and or not, it doesn't matter to the or to that person having extreme level of ruchi. He just is keen to hear the bhajan, kirtan, or glorification of the Lord, and he is very, very engaged. To that, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives an example of a hungry man. If a person is extremely hungry, it doesn't matter what kind of food you give, whether it is properly cooked, whether it has proper spices, whether it tastes well or not, or sweet or not. He is just hungry to have food. Whereas a person who has full belly and who has eaten good food and all, to that person, even if you serve a very good palate or very tasty thing, they will not accept because he or she or that person is already full. So the question here is, how do we develop that hunger to have that? So that was a lot of matter of discussion. How do we develop that hunger? How do we get that? The summarized responses through our steady practice, through sadhu sangha, through lawlem, and through having that determination to serve. That is the way. Like I already always hear Prabhuji say, there are three things: having that goal clear, having that burning desire to serve, and having the determination. That is in our control, and that will help us get. The final section. Uh, the final section is the despondency of a bliss of a person in whom Ruchi is awakened. I would skip that, but yeah, there is a description of the person who is Ruchi awakened. How does he behave? How does he feel? But in one sense, he or she, that person can go on uninterruptedly hearing the glories of the Lord. Example is Maharaj Parikshit and Sukdev Goswami. For continuous 7 days, they spoke Bhagavatam and heard Bhagavatam without having even a sip or glass of water, and they were not tired. That is the synopsis and the short summary, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Wonderful, wonderful summary. Hare Krishna again. Please accept my humble obeisances. Now we will do today's lesson 1919. Let me share my screen. Here it is. So as you can see, which is shown in the yellow box is lesson 19 today. Now the Shraddha to Prema, the 9-fold progressive stages of Shraddha to Prema, some devotees likes to divide into 3 groups. The first group is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti. And the second group starts with Nishtha, Nishtha Bhakti, Ruchi, and then Asakti. So today we are going to do the last of the second group, Asakti stage, which we are here doing it in lesson 19. And then next week we will do the third stage, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So we'll begin with Bhava Bhakti, lesson 20 and 21, in part 22. And then last one is lesson 23, lesson 2021 is the Bhava Bhakti, 20 and 21. 22, 23, and 24 lessons are for the Prema Bhakti that we will do the following week. And remember, the following week we will also launch our new course on Sri Jaiva Dharma. Okay, so with that introduction, let's get into this Asakti stage. So this is our, by now it should be pretty familiar, this Bhakti Lata Vraksha that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares this 9-fold devotional service, 9-fold progressive devotional advancement, starting with planting a seed of Navada Bhakti in the heart, properly prepared, and then how it goes through. And the stem is really all the way from beginning to end, is Sadhu Sangha. Of course, it's all the time Sadhu Sangha is required. So that we covered. So now we will get to this, the one which I'm showing you in the yellow box is the Asakti stage. And I'm blowing up that part of it right here. So the hallmark of this Asakti stage is this flower buds that you see that develop on the Bhakti Lata Vraksha, that later on this bud will blossom fully into flower, and then flower will give the fruit, and the fruit is Prema Bhakti, that we'll do subsequently. Okay. So in Asakti means really, it means attachment to Sri Krishna, who is the object of bhajana. So the Ruchi stage is actually between Ruchi and Asakti, is that there is no finite defining line actually, it's a diffuse stage. Ruchi, when it matures fully, condenses fully, then we get into the Asakti stage, and we will see the fundamental differences between Ruchi, which is the taste. So first you have, of course, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and Anartha Nivrutti. Then we get into the Nishtha stage. Nishtha means fixed determination, steadiness in bhakti, when you have this lately determined steadiness, nishta stage, then we enter into ruchi. Ruchi is then we experience the taste for hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna's wonderful, wonderful, beautiful form and his transcendental qualities and so on like that. And then we develop this great attachment. So here is the summary of today's lesson, let me walk you through that. So it's lesson 19. And remember the sixth of the 8 showers, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti describes this ninefold devotional service, ninefold progressive devotional stages into the as showers of bhakti rasa, the ecstatic rasa, and the shower of the torrential rain. And in the rainwater is actually here is the rasa, the ecstatic rasa, prema, that is what we experience. So there are 2 texts, 1 and 2. There are subsections A through G, and this is the enchantment of the heart. The heart is fully experienced this asakti stage. Remember, sadhana bhakti is all that includes, nishta bhakti, ruchi, and asakti stage. So here, that I've shown you here on the left side is text part A, B, C, and in the book which I am referring is page 339 to 343, and there are A, B, and C. The A is pertaining ruchi to bhajana and asakti pertaining to bhajaniya. Now, what is the difference between bhajana and bhajaniya? Bhajana means it is the 64 angas of bhakti, limbs of bhakti, so that is what is devotional service. And bhajaniya is the object. What for you're doing kirtana, chanting, is obviously Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna is the bhajaniya, the object of our devotional service. So ruchi pertains to bhajana kriya, the devotional service, and the asakti is actually the object of bhajana kriya, that is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Actually, we will see it's not exactly cut cleanly like that. When you say bhajana kriya, devotional service, obviously you are singing the kirtana to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So even one who is on a ruchi stage, he has the taste for doing the bhajana kriya, but of course he is not oblivious to the object of his bhajana kriya, Krishna. Okay, and same way, one who is on an asakti stage, that is the his object is Shri Krishna, but he knows he gets to Krishna through performing bhajana kriya, the devotional service rendered by his bodily senses. So that you must clearly understand. But the emphasis at the ruchi stage is on bhajana kriya, taste for performing bhajana, kirtana, and so on like that. Whereas asakti stage, he is now fully conscious on Shri Krishna. Okay, the part B is now we are going to talk about this asakti stage in a little bit greater detail. And here, the main symptoms, the difference from ruchi, as we remember, in ruchi we discussed, Sharad Prabhuji discussed, of course, that it is through the intelligence, mind intelligence, the devotee is getting the taste. He's applying that through mind and intelligence. He's suppressing all his material pursuits and everything in focusing, developing an attachment. The taste for doing his bhajana kriya. So, whereas in asakti stage, he doesn't need, he will go through that, of course, intelligence or anything spontaneously. His heart is like a clean mirror. All the anartha nivrutti, all the dirt that's gathered in so many layers on the heart, the mirror of the heart is totally cleaned. So now one who is in asakti stage is now clearly able to see the reflection of Shri Krishna uh, on his heart, the mirror of his heart. So that is the fundamental difference. And the last part 1C, is the effortless absorption. Remember, I told you now he doesn't need to use his intelligence, but spontaneously, without any effort, he's able to focus his mind on Krishna's name, form, transcendental qualities, and his sweet pastimes. He's able to focus on that. He's able to see even Krishna really on the mirror of his heart. So that we will do in the first part, and this text 2. And now, what are the characteristics of the devotee in the asakti stage? So when he sees 2A, when he sees a sadhu, advanced devotee, he is full of enthusiasm, and he greets such a sadhu, because sadhu tells him, narrates the Bhagavatam. So he is very eager to hear from such a sadhu the transcendental pastimes of Shri Krishna, very, very eagerly, lovingly, and he asks probing questions to that sadhu, speaking and reciters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he submits submission of his distress upon receiving darshana of the Mahabhagavata. We will go through that actually, what it means. Searching for Bhagwan's mercy in the activities of birds and animals. Remember in Gopi Gita, Raksha Mataji sings so beautifully how gopis, when Krishna left them purposefully to bring them closer to him, the gopis were going all around the jungle, the forest, asking the trees, the all the animals, uh, 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 where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And hoping the trees and the animals will respond. And if they respond affirmatively, positively, then they get elated that Krishna is very nearby. When they don't see the response, or the deer runs away, then they get disappointed that now Krishna is not going to come, like that. So devotee on the asakti stage is going through this kind of feelings in separation from Krishna, and then 2E, submission of distress upon receiving darshana of a Mahabhagavata that we already talked about, and behaving like a miserly merchant. He wants to get every word spoken by the Mahabhagavata on the recital of Bhagavatam. Every word he is very, very meticulously paying attention. So he's laulium, that is a greed, but that is a desirable greed. The opinions of various persons about one who is in asakti stage, that we will go through that. Some examples Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur cites. Okay, so this is the walkthrough of today's lesson. So here in this slide, Ruchi pertains to bhajana and asakti pertains to bhajaniya. And I already explained to you, Ruchi stage, he's more focused on the bhajana kriya, the devotional service, the 64 angas, okay? But he is not oblivious to Krishna. He knows that I'm singing this bhajana is for Krishna, okay? But he's more focused. His taste is on bhajana. There's one on asakti stage, he is much more conscious about this bhajana kriya. The object of that is Krishna himself. So his attachment is for Krishna, you know. So that is upfront I'm telling you. Okay, now let's read through that. So it's one, Ruchi, whose object is bhajana, what I just explained to you. We are going to read through the actual words of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay? So Ruchi, whose object is bhajana kriya, is inclined toward the limbs of bhajana. Okay, all of the 64 angas that Srila Rupa Goswami talks about in Nectar of Devotion, and beginning with, of course, hearing, simply hearing. So Shravana and Kirtana, Kirtana chanting. When that Ruchi matures and makes Bhagavan her object, okay, so the taste is in a feminine word, okay, and the object of Bhajana Kriya is, of course, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So that bhakti is called Asakti Bhakti. The devotee who possesses such a ruchi, taste for doing the bhajana kriya, naturally relishes performing the limbs of bhajana. He is greatly elated by performing that, hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna, all that, you know. Um, Whereas the devotee who possesses asakti, a one step forward, one more advanced step to ruchi, there is the attachment, but his attachment now is very conscious, very focused on the object that he said that I'm doing this thing to please my Lord. You know, he's very, very conscious about that, Krishna. Okay. So he experienced an awakening of direct attachment to his worshipable deity, Krishna, and his heart going through these feelings that the next stage bhava, you know, ecstatic symptoms that he develops. Yeah. Okay, this is point 2. And that point, the cluster of birds, flower birds, they appear on the Bhakti Vriksha. Okay. So he's beginning to get what is a flower? Flower is this ecstatic bhava bhakti, ecstatic symptoms. So at the budding stage of the flower that appears on the Bhakti Vriksha at this asakti stage. And I showed you that picture before, you know. Such birds indicate that soon enough, flowers and fruits will appear. Flowers of what? Flowers representing the ecstatic symptoms, the great rasas that he's experiencing in his heart. And the fruit is prema bhakti. You know, that will soon appear. Likewise, the appearance of this asakti indicates that very quickly the sadhakas, the practitioners, desire creeper of devotion, bhakti kalpa lata, will yield the flower of bhava. Bhava bhakti will appear. He's very, very, very conscious about that at the asakti stage. And he's looking forward to that. Third point, the principal object of ruchi, now here that's what I was telling you about, it's not exactly black and white. There's no fine dividing point between ruchi and asakti. It's a diffuse stage. Just because the ruchi devotee is more focused on the bhajana kriya, that does not mean that he is oblivious the object of his bhajana kriya, but he has developed a taste for doing bhajana kriya, hearing and chanting and singing for the glories. Okay, that's what Raksha Mataji is. To me, she appears to be in that stage, you know, ruchi stage. She develops great enthusiasm, being able to given an opportunity to sing for Krishna. You know, very clearly I see the symptoms, typical symptoms of ruchi in Raksha Mataji. You know, but that ruchi bhakta and same Raksha Mataji is clearly, she's not forgetting Krishna. She's singing for the glory of Krishna. Okay, but her taste in singing the glories, whereas the asakti stage, you know, so that point which I'm repeatedly telling you, the fine difference between the two, which is the confused stage, is between Ruchi and Asakti. That's what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining in this box that I was showing you, the third box, fourth box. One cannot develop attachment to Bhagavan without possessing the taste. So both are interrelated. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is particularly placing great emphasis on that. So we must clearly understand the Ruchi Bhakta, he is not oblivious to Krishna. Okay. In the same way, the one who is in Asakti stage, who has developed attachment for Krishna, but he is fully aware, fully conscious that I can reach to Krishna only through this bhajana kriya process. Okay. So he knows, and of course, sadhu sangha, it flows through that. Sadhu sangha is the bloodline providing the vital oxygen and the nutrients. So one should not forget about that. So that is the really the bottom line of this particular slide, that we must clearly understand the difference between Ruchi Bhakta and Asakta Bhakta. Okay. So now here, the Asakti at this stage, the devotee's heart is like a clean mirror. All the dirt is pretty much removed, 98% removed, 98, 99%. Just the remnants might be remaining, particularly those anarthas that he committed, like Vaishnava Aparadha and something like that. That goes all the way to the prema stage, you know. But near 89, 98, 99% is removed. So the mirror is quite shining. And the Asakta Bhakta, he begins to actually see the reflection of Krishna in his heart. So his attachment directly is for Krishna. Krishna is appearing to him in his heart. Okay, not as a Paramatma anymore, but Krishna himself, not his expansion. So here the part one, it's very Asakti thoroughly cleanses the mirror of the devotee's heart. Chitta, another word, the heart is chitta. And to such an extent that Bhagavan, who is reflected in it, appears to be directly visible before the Asakta practitioner. So you see the very clear difference now? He has great attachment for Krishna. Because of his attachment, Krishna is giving darshana directly to that devotee on the mirror of his heart, reflection of him. Okay, Krishna is not physically present in front of him yet, okay? But Krishna appears in his heart, and the devotee rejoices looking at him, experiencing his presence in his heart. Part two, from the time immemorial, you cannot distinguish when it began, when it ended, like that. Okay, it's called time immemorial. The dirt of the desire for sense gratification has clouded the mirror of the heart. Okay, the conditioned soul has that thing because of the anarthas that we discuss at great length. And as a result, it cannot reflect the charming sweetness. Just like a mirror, if the dirt is on the surface, obviously you cannot see your own reflection in the mirror. Then, okay, you have to polish that mirror, remove that dirt to see yourself in that mirror. So it is like that. So unless the anarthas are removed from the heart, Krishna, you cannot experience. But by that time, by the time devotee practitioner, sadhaka reaches to the stage of asakta stage, almost all the anarthas are removed. Just a little remnants might remain that, okay? But he is able to see Krishna now. So when asakti awakens, remember, it's a progressive stage, continuously going from Nishtha, Uchi, Asakta stage, and then later on Bhava Bhakti. It's a continuous stages going through that. There are no fine dividing lines, but from the symptoms you can tell the practitioner is what stage is. So Krishna is reflected there, is perceived without any kind of this thing, okay? And is perceived as it directly with the eyes. And I told you before, you can see again that at the Ruchi stage, by his intelligence, mind is beginning to experience. But at Asakti stage, it happens spontaneously, directly. So I'm trying to show you because now we are in the critical phase. Okay, we are completing the second division of the Shraddha Prema, Ishta, Ruchi, Asakti. So I'm drawing a difference between the two. The difference is very diffuse stage. Very fine differences are there. Or we go to the third, the final stage, which is Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. That's a sharp dividing line there, but not here. This slide is the effortless absorption of the mind in Bhagwan's name, form, etc. It does not have to worry about those impending elements, anarthas and everything. Okay, sinful reaction, all things, everything is passed through that. Now he does not, because even in the Ruchi stage, he has to use his mind and intelligence. Here, Asakta stage, at the so Ruchi beginning phase and the mature stage, when it's fully condensed, Ruchi fully condenses, then you get into the Asakta stage. So we are talking about a fully condensed Ruchi stage. That is the Asakta stage. So at that stage, Asakta possesses another feature that distinguish it from the stage of Ruchi. Pay attention, please. At the stage of Ruchi, the practitioner uses his intelligence, and I keep repeating these words so that it gets registered on your mind very clearly. Okay? And the practitioner uses his intelligence to draw his mind away from sense objects. So he has to make efforts at the Ruchi stage, okay? And Ruchi is a stage, right? When it's fully condensed, then the Asakti stage begins. Okay? So that stage, more efforts are required. And places again at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. So of course, he knows intelligence is provided by the Lord's compassion. And utilizes to reach to the Lord. But at the stage of Asakti, his mind becomes absorbed, naturally absorbed, without any effort, spontaneously. Bhagavan very easily, without any kind of endeavor. Okay, you heard about it, right? The second part of this slide, the devotee endowed. See, I really admire Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, how meticulously he's taking us in these 9 different progressive stages of bhakti. So this is, of course, obviously an advanced lesson, but when we are fully aware of it, then we get really, at least from my experience, I'm telling you, you get elated. Oh my God, I'm at this stage now. I go through all the stages, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That enthusiasm is there. Oh, light is there. I just keep trying it. The devotee endowed with nishtha is not. So now we are going to see in the final summary slide, I will show you the relatively distinguished changes, distinguishing features from nishtha, ruchi, and asakti. I'll show you the final slide. But this Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about this thing. So he says that one who is in the nishtha stage is not aware of when his mind digresses. What means digress? Digress means he gets distracted from Bhagwan's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Digress because of what? Because Nishtha stage is still, there are some anarthas are still there. Okay? And that is preventing him. But he is now fixed in his determination. Okay. Nonetheless, the influence that is there, Remember we saw that at Ruchi stage, and that the modes of material nature, especially the lower modes, are there, but its influence is not there, innocuous. But the Nishtha stage is still there. So Bhagwan's name, form, qualities, and passion becomes absorbed in extraneous topics unrelated to Bhagavan. Similarly, at Asakti stage, the mind imperceptibly withdraws. What is imperceptibly? Without even realizing it. Suddenly, he is able to see Krishna without any efforts. At the previous stages, Nishtha and Ruchi stage, Nishtha stage, because of these impediments, is impending in his efforts, because he is in a steady stage now with steady determination that he is now going to stay forcefully. And even though the anarthas are disturbing him, nonetheless he's trying his best. Okay. And the Ruchi stage, the anarthas are almost gone, but he uses the intelligence, mind, to focus, to remember, and trying to see Krishna. The Asakta stage, none of this thing happens. Spontaneously, now he's rejoiced. He's able to see Krishna in his heart. Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna. Unrelated to Bhagavan. Similarly, at Asakti stage, the mind imperceptibly, without even realizing, without any efforts, withdraws from the topic unrelated to Bhagavan. He is not at all attracted to material things. He's now totally attached to Krishna. Anything that is favorable to Krishna, that is what he will do. With the previous stages, he has to make some efforts to stay away from material pursuits. Sri Hari's name, forms, quality, and pastime. One in whom Asakti has not yet awakened, however, has no understanding of this. Only someone endowed with Asakti can know it. See that? Very clear difference. That Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur drawing our attention to it. Okay. So let's take a 5-minute break. Hare Krishna. So let it simmer down in your heart what you just heard through the channels of your ears, and meditate on that, what you just heard. And I kept on repeating purposefully. So the fundamental difference between Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti stage clearly dawn in your heart. You understand that? Okay, we are just approaching the final minute of this break, 5-minute break. All right. Now, this is the text 2A through G now, and it's a complicated slide. So I'm dividing to two. So we'll blow up A, B, C in this right hand yellow box, and the remaining uh, this D, E, F, and G in the second box that we'll see, okay, separately. So let this one A, B, and C. And now, as I told you in this slide, what you're going to see and the characteristics, the symptoms of this asakta bhakta, okay? And I told you from the beginning, remember, when he sees a Mahabhagavata, a great sadhu, is approaching him, he is with great enthusiasm greets him, okay? And greets him, pays his obeisances, respectful obeisances, and then he knows that sadhu is going to recite Srimad Bhagavat Puran, Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam is nothing but Krishna's beautiful, wonderful, sweet pastimes, So he's very, very eager to hear, and he's going to very submissively asking questions on that. So this is what we are going to hear in this portion of it, the slide, okay? What is the behavior of such a asakta bhakta upon seeing a sadhu from distant? He's just seeing a sadhu is approaching, immediately rush forwards to receive him. Upon obtaining the darshana of a Vaishnava sadhu, he deems his life successful. At these days, I'm preparing my slides for Sri Jaiva Dharma, and all these things actually very vividly describe the two characters. The principal character is this Premadas Paramhamsa Sadhu, Paramhamsa Babaji, and he's being, and this sannyasi who at that point is from Mayavadi sannyasi, okay? But he is thoroughly disgusted with that, and he had heard about the wonderful, wonderful transcendental pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the lotus mouth of Vaishnavas that he had heard, and so he eagerly came and visit Premdas Babaji, and how he greets him, and all these things that we will be seeing. So whatever we all is hearing, that we will revisit in actually in Sri Jaiva Dharma also. Upon obtaining the darshana of a Vaishnava sadhu, the asakta bhakta deems his life successful. Now he says, "Oh, great! The fruit of my labor is finally paying off." He's realizing that he's able to see the sadhu. So he realizes the importance of meeting sadhu. With intense faith and affection, great enthusiasm, he meets such a sadhu, and then submissively. The key word is submissively. He does not challenge. Okay, very submissively inquires with great humility, dainya bhav, he meets such a sadhu. Okay? Then speaking to the reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing a verse from the 10th canto in relation to Shri Krishna's sweetness, the devotee at the stage of asakti experiences unsurpassed happiness, great rejoice. His hair standing on the end like that, uh, uh, hair on his body stands on the end. Ruchi in its condensed stage, remember I told you before, Ruchi in the beginning stages and then fully condensed, then becomes asakta. Okay. So Ruchi is in its condensed form, becomes asakti. Thus the devotee with asakti experiences an awakening of an intensified taste for hearing the narration of Sri Krishna's pastime. So we saw that Ruchi stage is taste is experience, right? But asakti says that taste matures and develops attachment. Submission of distress upon receiving darshana of a Mahabhagavata. Now, why is distress in saying a Mahabhagavata? That is explained by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Why? Indeed, he regards the topmost of sadhus in that Vaishnava assembly as the crest jewel of physicians who can destroy the great disease of material existence. His mind thus restless. He approaches him and asks many questions concerning the medicine and diet to cure the disease of material existence. So he really meets him and he's a little bit uptight because at that stage he's already way past of material miseries and everything, right? But he remembers the remnants of that pain and he's asking Mahabhagavata that how am I going to make sure it doesn't come back again? Doesn't my mind takes away from this great difficulty? I've come to this stage that I don't want to become trapped again by Maya's three modes of material nature. So that is his distress. His mind thus restless. He approaches him and asks many questions concerning the medicine. What is the cure? How I can make sure that that miserable experience I don't experience again. Cure the disease of material existence, and how we can most quickly fulfill his cherished desire. Desire is to really see Krishna face to face. The asakta in his heart, however, does not allow him to remain in one place. Where do I go? So he's asking all these questions. Where do I go? What shall I do? How should I obtain Shri Krishna? He's very, very eager to see Krishna face to face. In his heart, he's already seen Krishna. Krishna appeared in his heart. It's exactly in the Narada story. Narada's previous pastime. His condition becomes like this. That is what is history. He's very happy to see the Mahabhagavata, but his distress is there. Now, D, E, F, G. So now, see, look at his behavior. In the forest, he sees the animals, right? Deer and so on like that, trees and things. And he sees the deer and he is hoping the deer will not run away. If the deer runs away, then he says that I'm not going to be able to see Krishna. If deer stays there, when he approaches that deer, then he becomes hopeful. Now Krishna is going to come to me. So upon seeing a black deer, so here searching for Bhagavan's mercy in the activities of birds and animals. Upon seeing a black deer, the asakta devotee sees in it a sense of Krishna. He begins to see Krishna even in the deer also. If the deer advances towards him, he will conclude Krishna's mercy is with him. But if the deer runs away from him, he will interpret it as Krishna's mercy is not yet upon him, he gets disappointed. Submission of distress upon receiving darshan of a Mahabhagavatam. We saw part of it tomorrow in the previous slide. Sometimes on the outskirts of a village, he may see very young Brahmanas, boys playing. Okay? But in Brahmana boys, who does he see? He sees the four Kumaras. And remember in the Bhagavatam, four Kumaras also reside Bhagavatam. Instantaneously, a Sfurti, what is Sfurti? That word came across before also, right? Sfurti means momentarily vision, recollection. Okay, he sees something, but in that, while he's remembering something else, in vision, it's something else comes in there. So he sees the boys, of course, but in that boys, is Sfurti, momentary, he sees the vision of the four Kumaras. He begins to question these boys as if they are the four Kumaras. Okay? Will I obtain Shri Krishna? If any of the boys even says no, then the devotee with asakti will begin to weep. He literally cries. If the response is encouraging, he will dance in ecstasy. So look at his mental frame that is reflected here. Mental frame of an asakta devotee. Such a tremendous, intense attachment for Krishna is there. Behaving like a miserly merchant, Laulyam. His restless mind wondering, when will I obtain Bhagavan? He's so eagerly waiting to see Krishna. He already saw the glimpse in his heart, but now he wants to see face to face Krishna. Naradji heard the words of Krishna, but then Krishna suddenly disappears and he runs wild. Where will I go? What do I have to do to obtain my cherished object? His mind depressed. He is lost in his constant meditation. He even forgets to attend bodily functions like eating, bathing, things like that, When asked why he is behaving like this, so the onlookers, they think that he's a madcap. They laugh at him. They make jokes about him. They make fun of him. They don't realize such a devotee, Jada Bharata, remember? He maintains silence in an attempt to conceal his emotion. When he's conscious, he tries to hide all this thing that's happening to him when somebody is looking at him. The other times he's helpless. The opinion of the various persons about one in Asakti. Now, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti shares with us how others think. Seeing him in such condition, his friends and relatives begin to think that his intelligence has now become deranged. Is he gone mad or what? His friends think like that. Ignorant neighbors say that by nature he is mentally unfit or dull. The adherents of Mimamsa philosophy say, what is Mimamsa philosophy? There's a Purva Mimamsa, there's a Uttar Mimamsa, right? Uttar Mimamsa is the Vedanta, So one who is a little bit knowledge, jnana, says that he is a fool. They don't understand pure devotee, The followers of Vedanta philosophy refer to him as bewildered, and the fruity workers declare that he is ruined. The devotee, however, understand the true state of affairs with such a devotee, asakta devotee. This is a summary slide. I'm putting all this thing together in one slide. The distinguishing feature, relatively distinguishing features with Nishtha Bhakta, Ruchi Bhakta, and Asakta Bhakta, okay? All this that we have just talked about, I'm putting it in one slide so that you can remember it. So what is the Nishtha stage? What are his symptoms and behavior? A, he can only enter virtually after Anata Nivrutti. So Anata Nivrutti most of is gone, Nishta stage, okay? Not all, but most of it, 70-80%. When those 5 obstacles that we talked about, right? Sleepiness, drowsiness, distraction, incompetency, rasa, aswada, all these things, the 5 obstacles in the Nishta Bhakta that we saw that have almost gone. The worldly emotions due to the lower modes. Remember, that was a difficult part to understand in yesterday's class. That the modes of passion and ignorance is there, but its effect is not experienced, innocuous, is not there, that stage. Unable to trace how and when his mind has wandered. Wandering means going elsewhere, away from Krishna's form, qualities, etc. So it happens time to time because of these modes, and then he's becoming distressed. The Nishta Bhakta, he's trying his best with fixed determination, stay in bhakti process, but the other things are still disturbing him. Most of the influence has gone, but the remnants is still there. That is Nishta Bhakta. Okay? Now, the one when he's progressing to Ruchi stage, look what happens to that. He disdain means he hates that for material desire. He does not, that material desires may be there, but he does not pay attention to it. He, with great effort, he keeps it at bay. That is unrelated to Krishna. He focuses only that is related to Krishna. Through his intelligence. Now, remember I told you that the Ruchi stage, he uses his intelligence. The practitioner pursues these 3 desires with intelligence. What are the 3 desires? And the Pasaka stage, remember we are going to talk about these 3 desires. But here, these 3 desires, he has using his intelligence. Do that is favorable to Krishna. Anukulayena Krishna. Shilanam Bhakti Ruchyate, right? Serve the Lord with great intimacy. Lord is all mine. Mamatva. He desires to attain the Lord. He has not yet met the Lord yet, but tremendous desire is there at the Ruchi stage. No fatigue. Endlessly keeps on chanting all the time, hearing Krishna Katha, and he never gets tired. He is so impatient, eager to hear more and more and more and more, and never feel fatigue. As Sharad Prabhu yesterday gave an example of Parikshit Maharaj. 7 days and 7 nights continuously here. Sukadeva Goswami tells him that now it's time for you to take some prasadam. So no, I don't need that. Repeated performance of the limbs of bhakti. He keeps on chanting, hearing, remembering, all things continuously does that. Now look at the asakti stage. Unlike at Nishtha and Ruchi stage, even before the devotees desire it, the mind imperceptibly, without realizing, imperception means without realizing, spontaneously, directly, he withdraws from matters unrelated to Krishna. He shows no interest whatsoever, that which is unrelated to Krishna, and automatically contemplates, embarks on Krishna's form, qualities, etc. Unlike at Ruchi stage, where the practitioner uses his intelligence, but at Asakti stage, his mind effortlessly becomes absorbed. He does not have to make any effort at all. No intelligence required. And all the features of Krishna is absorbed totally. Whatever he likes about Krishna, he focuses his mind on that. The 3 desires are inspired naturally. These 3 desires that we talked about, right? What are they? That which is favorable to Krishna, and let me serve the Lord with great intimacy, and how can I attain Krishna? These 3 desires inspired naturally, spontaneously. The final thing, asakti cleanses the mirror of the devotee's heart to an extent where he can clearly see Krishna's image right there. Krishna is smiling at him, and suddenly manifest, and he feels like Lord's direct audience, as if Krishna is there, but still it's in his heart. Okay, he does not see physically face to face. It's in his heart. He sees internally from within. Hare Krishna. So this is what the ruchis we saw, the distinguishing features, Nishta, Ruchi, and Asakta. Mostly we talked about Asakta stage. So next week we will do the Bhava Bhakti stage. Hare Krishna. Let's open discussion. So I'm elated. Today is a wonderful, wonderful attendance. 17 of 21 registered are there today. Finally, after so many weeks, all these past several weeks, we saw only about 12, 13, right? So I'm greatly elated. Thank you very much, everyone. Those who are coming back. Hare Krishna. I know Prasad Prabhuji and Satyadevata Prabhuji were engaged. They sent me some wonderful, wonderful pictures in Hyderabad, how they performed Rath Yatra. Thank you, both of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Hare Bol Prabhuji. Please accept my obeisance. Yes. Yes, Prasad Prabhuji.
No, I
Yeah,
just
but-
acknowledged for. Thank you, bro. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, anybody? I'm sure you
Hare
must have
Krishna,
many questions. Raksha
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna
yes.
Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam
हाँ,
Prabhuji.
हाँ,
So
बोलो।
wonderful class Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Prabhuji,
thank you.
तो आज की क्लास में ये मैं समझी हूँ कि अगर हम अपने वैष्णव अपराध से बच जाए और अपनी अच्छी सी साधना करें, तो आज जो हम सुने हैं वो इतना अद्भुत सुने, तो हम वो स्टेज पे जा सकते हैं। मतलब
Yes.
सुन के इतना अच्छा लग रहा है, तो बस हमें अपने इतना डिटर्मिनेशन से हम अपने अपराधों से बचे, वैष्णव अपराधों से बचे और वैष्णवों की सेवा करें और अपनी साधना पे बहुत ही फोकस करें, तो ये स्टेज हम देख सकते हैं कभी लाइफ में।
Yeah, that's what
वो
I told you.
मैं आज वो रियलाइज कर रही थी प्रभु जी, बहुत
इसलिए
अच्छा
मैंने कहा
लगा।
ना कि at the end of the tunnel you see the light, आशा की किरण, सब आशा दिखाई देती है, कि now we are going to go there, we are going to reach
So
that.
wonderful
We are
hope.
not there
Yes,
yet,
Prabhuji.
but we are getting the glimpse of that. That's what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is sharing with us. Hare Krishna.
So nice. Thank you Prabhuji.
Thank you.
And Prabhuji, secondly, I am not
તમે હવે ગાશો ને,
मैं
તમે હવે કોઈ બી ગીત ગાશો ને, આ બધા ભાવ આવશે તમારા ગીતમાં.
यस प्रभुजी, મારે બસ કીર્તન સેવા મારી જાન બની ગઈ છે પ્રભુજી. થેન્ક યુ સો
બસ
મચ.
બસ
તમે
તમારે
અમને જે
ગીતોમાં હવે
ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટી આપી છે બહુ ગમી છે.
આ બધું આવશે, તમારા ગીત ગાશો તેમાં જોજો. We will experience that when you sing that with that powers.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna Charu Bhaiji, thank you so much for very nice
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Very,
Thank you.
very
बहुत बहुत
amazing
शुक्रिया
class.
आपका.
Full of meaning.
कहिए.
I was thinking if we go on chanting more and more. So then our anartha and all these other things which disturb, which are hindrance in the bhakti,
Yeah.
they are automatically go on decreasing if we
Yes.
increase our chanting.
Increase
That
our
is
chanting and keeping the association of the devotees.
devotees,
Yeah,
kirtans.
in the company of the devotees,
Yeah.
hopefully some advanced souls. If you continue that process is very potent,
Yeah,
sooner
yeah.
or later you are going to reach. And Krishna promises that once you are on this path, you are already on this path. You bought a ticket, you already boarded the plane. Plane is going to
Yeah.
take off. Okay, so you are
Yeah.
going to land at your goal, at your final destination.
But for the devotee
you-
like me, it's very far.
Yeah. ये देखो बहुत कम लोग इंसान होते हैं. We are very very fortunate. At least even we are at this stage in bhakti process. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
don't be
yes, sir.
discouraged.
Yes,
We
sir.
are, most of us, we are actually another nivritti stage, but we are uh, conducting these advanced classes is to really, my purpose is to really make you all very very hopeful, and continue that process with great
जी भाई,
determination. At least
जी,
be on a nishta stage,
जी,
firm determination.
जी. अगर
Okay.
अब हम जो चैंटिंग करते हैं और हमारे जो ड्यू टू आवर प्रारब्ध उसमें प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं, थॉट्स क्रिएट जो अलग थॉट्स आते
ये
हैं,
माइंड
अगर हम
भटकते रहते हैं, मन
बदलते
भटकते
हैं,
रहता है ना.
ये
हाँ.
से अगर हम उस चीज से हटके नहीं और उसको हम अपना जो हमारा जो पर्पस है उसको चांट करने का, भक्ति करने का, या ऑल दिस कीर्तन डिवोटी संग, तो अगर इफ वी कंटिन्यू, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए कंटिन्यू, आई थिंक कि हमारा जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जो भी है वो प्रारब्ध है जो पहले का वो ऑटोमेटिकली विल गो ऑन
कम होती
डिक्रीजिंग.
जाएगा, कम होती
इट इज
जाएगा.
राइट.
ये जब तक हमारी मटेरियल बॉडी है, तकलीफें तो आती रहती होगी. देखो, जब ऑन
जी
लुकर्स होते हैं ना, जो देखते हैं कि डिवोटी सफरिंग कर रहे हैं, मगर डिवोटी हिमसेल्फ इज नॉट एक्सपीरियंसिंग दैट सफरिंग, बिकॉज हिज माइंड इज फोकस्ड ऑन कृष्णा,
यस.
and Radharani's mercy. You have to also remember, without Radharani's mercy, you cannot approach Krishna. So both are required. सो क्वेश्चन पॉइंट ये है कि हमें ये प्रोसेस चालू रखनी चाहिए, घबराना नहीं चाहिए, डिसअपॉइंट नहीं होना चाहिए. तकलीफें आती रहेगी, चाहती रहेगी, चली जाएगी अपने अपने टाइम पे,
तो
सो
ये भाई जी ये कृष्ण की प्रेयर के लिए इससे पहले हमें राधा की वो करना चाहिए प्रेयर.
ये
इज इट
कृष्ण
सो?
और राधा, देर यू कैनॉट, दे आर नॉट सेपरेट, दे आर वन इन द सेम. But
दे आर
Radha
वन.
is in that devotional platform. She is her greatest devotee, okay, and she's Radha, Krishna's energy and potency also is there. So Krishna says that without Radha's mercy, you cannot attain me directly. He says in that course we conducted Radha Tattva, remember? So that is there always, always. So हमारी जो कोशिशें हैं, our
जी.
endeavors, they constantly, there is a support there. If you also pray, Srimati Radharani, please help me, in my endeavors, my, please help me. So Radharani, when sees that, Prabhupada says, Radharani then recommends us, tells Krishna that here is devotee, you should really have a second look at that devotee. He is suffering, she is suffering, please help her out, help him out. So Krishna, when Radharani's recommendation comes, he specially pays attention to that is such a devotee. मगर
थैंक यू भाई.
हमारे yeah, thank you.
थैंक यू.
और कुछ?
थैंक यू
हरे
सो
कृष्ण, बहुत दंडवत प्रणाम थे.
Oh, बहुत बहुत thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu, I was traveling. I went to India
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, so that's what not able to attend because of
Yeah, I understand. Okay,
traveling and all.
are
Yesterday only
very-
I'm back, Prabhu.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
that's what just.
Good to see you.
Sorry, thank you, Prabhu. So for a wonderful class, a little bit I joined a bit late because of this late flight and all.
Yeah.
Just Prabhu, again, the last bit was very, very important. You did mention that in the Nishta stage, the person able to see the Krishna in his presence, the person can feel it. Is that Prabhu? Could you please,
No,
if you could give some comment?
Nishta stage, he's not completely uncovered from the anarthas, right? So he is fighting both, but he has, with just like Mata ji abhi bol rahe the na, with fixed determination you continue. Difficulties comes, but you have to stay composed and stay determined to keep forwarding. So that is Nishta stage. But when he passes that and comes to the Ruchi stage, if his determination stays continuously with him, then he develops the taste. Steadiness brings that, then at the Asakti stage, that is when he begins with his intelligence, he tries to make sure that all the things that are unrelated to Krishna, he's not going to be attracted to that. That which is related to Krishna, he's going to pursue, and with great intimacy, all these things that with his intelligence, he tries to compose himself. But the asakta stage, at that stage, his mirror is completely completely polished now. So that's when within his heart, he begins to see the reflection of Krishna. So that is the point I thought you were asking, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. That's what I missed that one. So
Yeah.
that is what. Okay. So the continuous determination. Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah.
So firm determination होना जरूरी है अगर progress करना हो, and with advanced devotees, साधु संग, उनका association बहुत जरूरी है, और हमारी chanting process, hearing Krishna katha, hearing from the Bhagavatam, नित्यम भागवत सेवया, ये सब प्रोसेस इतनी इम्पोर्टेंट है, वो अपना रंग जरूर दिखाएगी. धीरज रखनी चाहिए.
Yes, it makes sense.
उत्साह, निश्चय, धैर्य, तत्त कर्म प्रवर्तन, right?
Yes,
With great enthusiasm, determination, and patience.
Yes.
You continue the process. It's very powerful.
Yeah. Thank you,
and
bro.
then you
Hare Krishna, bro.
Keep on crossing these stages. No?
Yes, bro. Yes. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Any
Hare
other
Krishna,
points?
Prabhu.
Question?
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks,
Sanjeev
Pranam,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Wonderful class.
Madam.
So, one or two reflections and thoughts that came across in like this is such an interesting topic, Prabhuji. Thank you for choosing. I was also hearing to other lectures from Banu Swami Maharaj just to get a deeper understanding. So, like you mentioned about sadhu, how a devotee in the stage of asakti is so much eager and the respect he has for sadhu. So, one example was given by Maharaj that your own Guru Maharaj, right? He has so much attachment that he mentioned that when this whole Gaur Purnima festival were going, I don't remember what festival, but he was watching on a TV some live telecast and he was on his sofa. But the moment he saw His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj, he stood up from the sofa and offered obeisance. Although it's on a TV, but he saw the sadhu live or his guru
Exactly.
live. He got up. And that's
That is which I just heard, right?
Yeah, and that's not easy for him because at his stage, the body is so weak and all. So for him, getting up and offering the obeisances is sort of an effort. Is an effort for him, but despite of that, he did that. So
you
that's
personally
the
witnessed that.
Yeah,
Such an advanced soul.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Yes. So that's it. And it's like no one observing him also. So like he mentioned that kind of sadhu, whether he's in a public or a private, he's the same. He has that same respect and like eagerness to offer obeisances or connect with his sadhu.
Yeah.
So that's I just thought of sharing. It correlates what I heard.
Thank
The
you. Thank you
second
very
point,
much.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. The second point is about the mind that was mentioned here. It's interesting to see how this correlates to the fact that Krishna says in chapter 6, right? The mind can be the best enemy. The mind can be the worst. Sorry, the mind can be the worst enemy or the best friend, right? So right now it's our worst enemy, at least for me. Take too many different directions, but here we see how the transformation is happening, right? Like when the person reaches the stage of asakti, you mentioned that automatically it just is no longer interested in any material topic. It just finds a way to see Krishna everywhere, even in the deer and in the like and in the talks of Brahmin boys and all, or everywhere it just tries to see is Krishna happy with me or not. Right? So that's a real transformation. So those are two reflections and thoughts. Question I have is in one of the lectures I read again on this that there is 5 kind of direct asakti and 7 kind of indirect asakti. Is that coming through later in this or that's only about the rasa? Okay. Are there further classification of asakti or Like there is direct
5 kinds of
asakti and indirect asakti.
the direct darshan of Krishna you're talking about?
No. Is there any further? Okay, let me reiterate my question. Is there any further classification of asakti as direct and indirect
No,
asakti?
no. This is what we just covered. Whatever we covered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that we already covered in this asakti stage. What the symptoms and behavior of such a devotee that we heard. Now,
Okay,
next week onwards, we will see the Bhava Bhakti, the ecstatic symptoms that he's going to experience, all the rasas, that we will see.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very, very
Thank you.
exciting. And
Thank you
yes,
for sharing your Guru Maharaj experience, Thank you.
no, Prabhuji, that was your Guru Maharaj, not mine. Gopal
Oh,
Krishna
my
Goswami.
Guru Maharaj, really?
Yes,
I see.
yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
He is
Haribol.
like every time he sees any
He is another thing.
devotee,
My Guru Maharaj is great in DD Seva. When he travels with him, he takes all paraphernalia about his deities, all the the shilas and everything. He all this he takes, and about 2 hours he spends every morning do that deity seva, even when he's in traveling all around the world.
yes, that also Bhane Swami Maharaj mentioned. So
Yeah.
that was a good example or reference.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Okay,
Thank you, Prabhu.
any
And wonderful kirtan from the kirtaners. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions, points before I turn it over to Sharad Prabhuji?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, मारे एक पॉइंट केवो छे।
हाँ, बोलो।
हाँ प्रभु जी, जब से मैंने भक्ति शास्त्री और भक्ति वैभव कोर्स ज्वाइन किया है, तब से मेरी आसक्ति मतलब भगवान के प्रति इतनी बढ़ती जा रही है, और इतने सिस्टमेटिक वे से वो हमारे जो भी प्रीचर्स है, जो भी हमारे टीचर है, वो हमें इतने एंगेज रखते हैं। तो उससे हम मतलब मेरा यही कहना है कि अगर किसी ने भी वो जो कोर्स नहीं किए तो वो करे, क्योंकि वो बहुत ही इफेक्टिव है। मैंने मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है। तो जो मेरा श्लोका के प्रति जो प्रेम है वो दिन ब दिन बढ़ता जा रहा है प्रभु जी। एक श्लोका पहले मैं करती नहीं थी प्रभु जी, मैं बोल भी नहीं पाती थी। मेरे शिक्षा गुरु के सामने अगर हमारे लॉकडाउन के दरमियान रेसिटेशन होता था सब श्लोका का, तो मैं इतनी घबराती थी, डरती थी कि मेरा टर्न न आए, और मैं इतनी घबराती थी। मगर अभी मैं इतना अच्छे से श्लोका कर सकती हूँ, मुझे भी मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा है कि मैं रियली में कर रही हूँ। तो वो रियली वो जो अटैचमेंट भगवान से जो बढ़ता जाता है, और मेनली जो हमारे जो शिक्षा गुरु से बहुत ही अटैच होना चाहिए हमें। तो हम गुरु कृष्णा से तो वो तो दूर की बात है, मगर हमें पहले हमारे गुरु से बहुत अटैच होना चाहिए। वो मैंने सीखा है प्रभु जी, ये कि जो भी हमारी जो इंस्ट्रक्शन देते वो हमें कंप्लीटली करनी है, वो बस वो जो बोले वो करना ही है। तो हमारा जो उनके प्रति जो आसक्ति है वो बढ़ती जाएगी, तो ऑटोमेटिकली भगवान के प्रति आसक्ति बढ़ेगी।
थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग दैट।
सबको वो कोर्स करना चाहिए, भक्ति वैभव और भक्ति शास्त्री बहुत ही हमारी लाइफ में जरूरी है।
आई एम श्योर दे आर ऑल लिसनिंग टू दैट। Thank you.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Charu Prabhu already did that for us. So that is great. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I agree with you. They are very helpful, very, very helpful. And we have the recordings, so you all can also listen to what Prabhuji conducted for us.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So,
thank you, Prabhuji.
I'm going to turn over to Sharad Prabhuji. Haribol Sharad Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. You have covered the things so nicely, and especially the last slide, it gives a gist of the last 3 classes, that is the lesson 17, 18, and 19. The difference, the gist of it, it is given. I'll request all devotees to take a printout of that slide and keep it in front of them, so that the 3 things, Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti, they are very, very clear, so that the next page, when Bhava and Prema come, they are also understood in the correct perspective. I'll also cover something about what the Sanjeev Prabhuji was speaking the five divisions of asakti, 5 plus 7, 12 divisions, though they are not given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, but they are given by Srila Prabhupada in various purports. Actually, everything has been covered, but I will just repeat some of the things regarding asakti, what is spoken by Srila Prabhupada in his comments to the verse 7.1 of Bhagavad Gita, which speaks of asakti also. And now this asakti, as you know, it is attachment. It is firm attachment. And now this attachment comes over after passing through so many stages of devotional service. It is at a very, very later stage, and it is a very, very higher stage. That's why in 7.1 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Maya Aksapta. You have to increase your attachment to Krishna. So by practicing this process, we come to this the stage of asakti, Maya Asakta Mana. Then the mind becomes totally attracted to Krishna. Now there are different stages to develop our love for God or Krishna. Now the Supreme Lord Krishna says, he is telling Arjuna how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of him, that is Krishna, with the mind attached to Krishna, one can achieve Lord Krishna in full, free from doubt. Now this yoga system Krishna mentions here is very, very simple. It is very easy. But we have to engage our mind in thinking only of Krishna, only the form of Krishna and nobody else. And how we should think about Krishna, he is telling here with attachment, with asakti. If you love somebody, you always want to see him. Your attachment is so strong that if you don't see him, you become restless. And different people have different attachments, but attachment is always there. Somehow, somebody may be attached to a dog, or somebody may be attached to a god, to the god, but attachment is there in everybody. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he also has explained by giving a very simple example. He says that, my dear Lord, as a young man awakens his attachment immediately upon seeing a young girl, or a young girl becomes attached to a young boy as soon as she sees him. Let me become attached to you like that. And this is the kind of attachment which is very, very natural. We should develop for Krishna. Nobody has to go to the to any college or university to learn it. This is what our acharyas have told us in very, very simple ways. We should do that. Then another example is that our attachment should flow towards Krishna like a current of a river. A river automatically flows down to the sea, and just as the river is flowing toward the sea spontaneously, without any artificial attempt, our love should spontaneously flow toward Krishna or God, and that is the perfection in yoga. And we have to come to this stage and attach our mind always to Krishna under all circumstances without thinking anything. And if you read the various comments in various lectures of Srila Prabhupada regarding asakti, you will find many, many things like this, how asakti should be developed and how we should proceed on this path toward Krishna consciousness, and how we will be closer to God under all circumstances. Now, what Sanjeev Prabhuji was talking of, this also, Srila Prabhupada, he says there are 5 kinds of direct asakti. These are like Santa, Sakhya, all these up to Vatsalya and Madhurya, all these 5, these are the 5 kinds of asakti to Krishna, that is attachment. We can get attached to Krishna in these ways, and there are also 7 kinds of indirect attachment. The total there are 12. This we know. This is what he is saying. And but please remember that indirect attachment is not bhakti, but direct attachment is bhakti only. If we are attracted by to Krishna by the direct method, it is called devotional service. And if one is attached to Krishna by indirect method, it is not devotional service, just like Kamsa. Kamsa was the, you know, the maternal uncle of Krishna. And when he heard that the 8th son of Devaki is going to kill him, from that day he was thinking always about Krishna 24 hours in a day. And at the end, of course, he went to the spiritual world because of that, but that is not bhakti at all. That is not devotional service. We have to do direct devotional service. We have to be in various relationships with Krishna. Though we have said 5 of them, but actually 4 of them. The Santa, that is not actually counted. There is no relationship in that. Those who are in Santarasa, maximum they go to the planet of Vishnu, that is Vishnu Loka, and not to Golok Vrindavana. Now the difference is in Golok Vrindavana, the devotees, they render service, personal service to the Supreme Lord. So that is the thing, that's why we should be very, very carefully tread this path and reach this level, so that we are more attached to Krishna, and thereafter proceed to the next 2 stages, which are of course very, very difficult. Whether everybody will achieve this thing in this life, that is not known, but we should make our endeavor and be attached to Krishna. And this can be there only when we only think of Krishna in the most favorable manner. And then only we will come to this stage of asakti, then move to bhava and prema. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhuji. Wonderful, wonderful pointers. And thank you all of you for your time and patience. So now let's conclude the class. So I'm going to request Sagar Prabhu to do the Nrsimha prayer. Sagar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhai. Namaste Narasimhai. Praladaladaine. Praladaladaine. Hiranyikosi Purvaksahan. Hiranyikosi Purvaksahan. Shilatankar Nathale. Shilatankar Nathale. Ito Narsingha, Bharato Narsingha, Ito Narsingha, Bharato Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, My Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, My Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, Narasimhamadin Saranam Prapade, Narasimhamadin Saranam Prapade. Tava kala kamala bhare nakha singam dalita hiranyakasipur tanu bringam kesavadita narahari rupa jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare. तव कलकमलभरे नखाद्भुतसिंहं धरिता हिरण्यकशिपूर्तनुभृङ्गम् केशवधीता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रपात की जय, चारू प्रभु की जय, शरद प्रभु की जय, गुरुदेव की जय, ऑल assembled devotee की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।